A very good day to everyone. My name is Ajita Apsara Suraj and my metric number is A169325. This is our group video documentary presentation and I would be taking up the role as an economist. The purpose of this video documentary is to create awareness as a whole about poverty. Poverty means that the income level from employment is so low that basic human needs can't be met. The COVID-19 is a crisis like no other the world has faced in recent decades in terms of its potential economic and social impacts. The pandemic has been especially cruel to the poor and the vulnerable. These include those with little or no assets or savings to fall back on, informal workers who are not covered by or have inadequate social safety nets, and those who have lost their jobs, been placed on unpaid leave, or experienced pay cuts because of movement control orders (MCO). The COVID-19 pandemic is estimated to push an additional 88 million to 115 million people into extreme poverty this year, with the total rising to as many as 150 million by 2021, depending on the severity of the economic contraction. Extreme poverty, defined as living on less than $1.90 a day, is likely to affect between 9.1% and 9.4% of the world's population in 2020, according to the Biennial Poverty and Shared Prosperity Report. World Bank Group President David Malpass said, in order to reverse this serious setback to development progress and poverty reduction, countries will need to prepare for a different economy post-COVID by allowing capital, labor, skills, and innovation to move into new businesses and sectors. World Bank Group support across IBRD, IDA, IFC, and MIGA will help developing countries resume growth and respond to the health, social, and economic impacts of COVID-19 as they work toward a sustainable and inclusive recovery. Thank you.
Warm greeting to Dr. Halisa and fellow friends. In this title, I'll be representing as a corporate manager and will describe obstacles that the firm face that contribute badly to extreme poverty and ways to crash over the problems. Firstly, what happens to firm? The COVID-19 outbreak is a sharp reminder that pandemics, like other rarely occurring catastrophes, have happened in the past and will continue in the future. The pandemic has caused several economic consequences where all society dramatically changed their consumer behavior and business act toward market price. Thus, many industry sectors such as tourism, retail have affected badly as they freeze operating for past 6 months during the national lockdown in 2020. What is linked to poverty? The consequences of COVID-19 pandemic are stretched far beyond the spread of the disease. Efforts to contain transmission have triggered the worst global economic crisis in a century, devastating the livelihood of millions. Many firms decided to stop their employees as their capabilities to pay them has shrunk, and this has pushed 40 to 60 million additional people could fall into extreme poverty in 2020 compared to the year before. Can firms still be able to reduce poverty? Well, in my point of view, economic crisis is not something new, as Great Depression crisis has recorded the worst recession ever. Thus, COVID-19 pandemic can be said as a temporary shock to the economy, and this extension of poverty still can be truncated with proper management of firms in terms of operation and CSR. In the first place, firms should understand COVID-19 is a game changer for digital transformation, as they can take leading fight against recession by creating advanced virtual opportunities for those living in poverty across their direction, operation, and supply chain. Therefore, investing in providing technology to the poor can create business value and build competitive advance amidst involving labor markets for the private sector to contribute to the sustained development. In short, there is certainly rooms for error in the implementation of CSR practice, but when carried out effectively, CSR can serve as a sharp tool for evaluating poverty as firms together with its society has its responsibility to create a better living for the poor citizen.
A warm greetings to Dr. Haliza binti Omar and my respectful audience. First and foremost, I am Saharaj Selvam, student identification A169030, and I'm here in the role of Bank Industry Manager. Will talk through the impact of poverty due to lack of financial support. The Statistics Department said today the absolute poverty rate in Malaysia improved from 7.6% in 2016 to 5.6% in 2019 following the revision of the National Poverty Line Income (PLI). Had the pandemic not convulsed the globe, the poverty rate was expected to drop to 7.9% in 2020. The pandemic and global recession may cause over 1.4% of the world's population to fall into extreme poverty, said World Bank Group President David Malpass. Financial support is a must to help the poor or needy people. This is said so because a person's burden can be lessened by giving some cash, as they could buy some groceries, clothes, and other necessary items to have a better lifestyle. Government have been helping in so many ways to all needy people, but is that enough for their living? Some say yes and some say no. Why? This all depends on how much and how they utilize this help for their daily basis. Apart from that, what helps that can be given to bring them to lessen their burden and all at once reduce the percentage of poverty in this pandemic? Based on the Economics Times, I had come up with few possible helps that we could give to the poor. First, recognize that poorer people around us may not have the access to education, work experience, and training that can enable them to excel at what they do. Investing the time to teach, train, mentor, and support those who work with us to hone the skill they have and pick up new skills will help immensely. Next, creating a common pool funded by donations from like-minded people will offer meaningful support during emergencies or fund expenses that cannot fit into the routine income. Wind up. In global development, cash transfers typically describe direct payments that donor organizations or governments make to the poor, often with no strings attached. Since 2000, the radically simple idea of just giving the poor money has become quite popular. With a small contribution of us in helping financially could help reduce the percentage of poverty globally. You may ask, why is it important to reduce poverty? Poverty is associated with a host of health risks, including elevated rates of heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, infant mortality, mental illness, undernutrition, lead poisoning, asthma, and dental problems. Therefore, poverty should also be our main concern in this pandemic. Thank you.
Good day to everyone. My name is Asha Sinasamy, metric number A169142. Today, I'm going to talk about awareness about poverty due to COVID-19 pandemic. My role in this video as a human resource manager. Basically, I'm going to answer 3 questions frequently asked by everyone. Since the MCO was implemented on March 18 and until November 27, 99,696 Malaysians have lost their jobs. Malaysian unemployment rate hit 5.3% in May, its highest level in more than 3 decades, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia. This is because of the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted supply chains around the world, so that business leaders took rapid decisions and took immediate action to sustain business operations to serve their customers, clients, and communities, as well as protect and support their workers. So most of the companies took a decision to reduce labor intake to save costs, which is directly causes poverty because there is no source of income to survive. COVID-19 has widened the income inequality gap in the country, that many of those who lost their jobs during the year were from the lower income group has aggravated the situation. There are some ways the COVID-19 pandemic is increasing income inequality. Firstly, higher paid workers are working from home, while lower paid blue-collar workers typically do not have this option. Then, lower paid workers are more represented in the sectors that have suspended activities such as hotel, restaurants, and tourism services. Lastly, the pandemic is increasing poverty and inequality between richer countries that can afford to bail out their firms and provide social safety nets and poorer countries that do not have the capacity to do so. Rebuild the institution and redistribution policies that help improve the income and living standard of the target vulnerable households through the provision of support in employment opportunities starting from small business, education, housing and healthcare facilities. These include providing workers with leverage in the empowerment of skills sets to improve their income and bargaining power in the labor market. In conclusion, COVID-19 pandemic has affected globally in terms of social and economy, so everyone should aware about it by cooperate each other to overcome the issue. Thank you.